Over to Miriam.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd just like to move on to ask you a few questions about Ofsted's role in ensuring political neutrality in schools and safeguarding procedures. So firstly, yesterday there was some findings published from a report by Professor Eric Kaufman showing that about 3/4 of British children report being exposed to critical social justice theories in school. So ideas about white privilege, Britain being systemically racist, or that there are many genders, for example. And nearly 70% of those children report that when those issues were raised in school, it was in a way that there were no competing arguments taught, or that they were taught that alternative views weren't acceptable. Now, clearly this is having a damaging effect on some young people's view of each other in the country. And there are a number of incidents in schools that have been reported to me where children holding opposing views or not being willing to adhere to those views have actually been punished. I know in March, Ofsted, you downgraded the American school in London on the basis of their promotion of some of these theories. So what's Ofsted's plan? If this is a much more widespread issue, what's Ofsted's plan to ensure that schools do remain politically impartial and offer balancing views when they do teach about these political theories?
I also saw the reports. I think it was a policy exchange report, and there did appear to be some concerning findings there that I hope government will take note of. I actually talked about this, the issue of political impartiality at some length in a speech I gave in the summer, because it's a real and difficult issue that we should all acknowledge. Schools are places where children from all kinds of background, all families have to be. No parent wants to send their child to school thinking that they are going to be pushed into one set of political views or another. So teachers really have to be expert guides through disputed territory. DfE's published some really good guidance on political impartiality with some helpful examples. Just at the start of the autumn term, we gave all of our inspectors full training on recognising the issues when they arise, with case studies on some of the most difficult and contested aspects to help guide them. The way that it's likely to arise, there are two ways in which it might come up during an inspection. One is in the context of a sort of curriculum deep dive. If the curriculum and teaching in a particular subject that we've selected shows sort of signs of imbalance, that's something we would take up and explore in great depth with the school. I think it's essentially what happened in the inspection you referred to. Yeah. The other way is in the context of concerns and complaints that have come to us. We are the place of last resort that people can go if they complain to a school and don't get satisfaction from the school or the governing body. So we filter those complaints. On occasion they have us go out and inspect immediately. A larger proportion go on file for the next inspection. So the inspector's preparation for the inspection will flag up if, for example, if there are parent concerns arising, and then they can then make that a line of inquiry in the inspection.
Okay, that's interesting, and that partially answers my next question about parents' recourse to complaint when they don't get anywhere with the school, when they don't get anywhere with the local authority. Some local authorities are actively instructing schools to teach some of these theories, and then they come to Ofsted and don't hear back. But what you're saying is those are hold on. They may not trigger an inspection, but they're held on file for the next inspection, and inspectors would be mindful of those when inspecting the school.
Indeed, we would, and it is a very simple process through the gov.uk website, which I think also helpfully sort of structures it so that complaints are directed to Ofsted or ESFA or the Department of Education as appropriate for the particular nature of the registered entity. There's a complex web of legislation that says who deals with what. The caveat I should put here is we don't have, as some people sometimes expect, the power to investigate individual complaints. Okay. We have the power to inspect, but not to sort of fully go into individual circumstances. So I know it is sometimes frustrating for people that we're not as an ombudsman who can take up their case.
So what would you recommend to a parent? Let's say they believe that there's a safeguarding issue with the way that schools are teaching certain theories and that children are not being protected from indoctrination. They try complaining to the school, they try complaining to the local authority. Obviously, for the reasons you've just said, Ofsted can't immediately inspect. What would you, they write to the DfE, don't get reply. What would you advise those parents to do?
Well, I would encourage them to make use of our website if they've exhausted those other avenues. I would also ask them to ensure that other like-minded parents do the same. It is an impossible challenge in the modern world with a huge range of opinions on almost any subject for a head to secure total consensus from every single parent in a school. So in the context of a school with 500 children, a single complaint about a consent probably won't sort of trip the serious concern threshold. If there are concerns from 50 parents, that sends a very different message.
Thank you. Moving on to transparency, I think you'll be aware of